Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to our Kartik month special. So today we're going to do a little bit more Hari Katha. So yesterday we was talking about how Srimati Radharani is known as Urjeshwari. She is Bhakti Pradayini. So my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapatak Swami Maharaj, always says that this Damodar month is like the big sale month. You know, in the malls you see 50% off, 75% off. Sale, sale, sale. Come and purchase whatever it is that you want. You'll get a good deal. So this is a spiritual sale, which very, very rarely happens. But it comes once a year for us, thankfully. 30 days of taking advantage of the sale. So I was hearing Dr. Nitai Sevini Mataji, she was saying once that, you know, sometimes when there was this concept of monarchy, and if the subject goes and tells the king some good news, then the king is very, very generous to that subject. He gives him a lot of jewelry and coins, gold coins, and all of nice things, you know. And the news the update that the subject may have given to the king and the reward that they got for giving that king that good news is disproportionate. That's because of the generosity of the king, that he gives everything because the news that has been given to him has pleased him so much that he gives a lot out of generosity. So similarly, even in this month, whatever little that we do, Krishna gives us a lot in return. So if your boss, I was actually reading some news articles, a couple of news articles that came over the last week. There are a couple of employers who unexpectedly purchased cars for their employees. Imagine purchasing brand new cars and giving your employees brand new cars. So unexpectedly, the employees got brand new cars. I think 20 or 25 employees got brand new cars from their boss. So when one gets such a gift, we never ask the boss, but why did you give me the gift? You know, so when really good fortune comes upon us, we never question it. We are certainly happy about receiving it and maybe blissful and delirious with joy, but we never question something good that comes to us. So similarly, in this Kartik month, whatever little vrats that we keep, the Lord is so pleased with you that he showers his mercy upon you. That is why this month is so special. So devotees are keeping this austerity for the pleasure of Krishna. Some of the austerities can be very difficult. So I know in our temple, some of the pujaris, for the entire month, they will eat only Havishya Anna. You know, that means no enjoyment when it comes to prasadam. Havishya Anna is bare minimum, which means no sabji, no fruits, no juice, no paisam, nothing. I remember one of the pujaris, he's not with our temple, and he has moved out. Very young pujari, very sweet pujari. The entire Kartik month, he would only be on fruits. And he would not tell it to anybody. One day, accidentally, he told me, I was like just shocked. So many different types of austerities that you can keep for the pleasure of the divine couple. So Srimati Radharani, we said, is Bhakti Pradayini. She gives you that love for Krishna. Because Krishna doesn't have Krishna Prema. Srimati Radharani has Krishna Prema. And all of the Sakis have Krishna Prema. So in Golok Vrindavan, Shri Krishna is actually serving Srimati Radharani. Whereas all of us are trying our best to serve Krishna. But Radharani is such an exalted devotee of the Lord. Of course, she is his Shakti potency. that Krishna is serving her in Golok Vrindavan. So Krishna, who enchants us with his beauty, with his pastimes, he in turn gets enchanted by Srimati Radharani. So it is the enchanter getting enchanted by Srimati Radharani. So we understand that Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She is the repository of all good qualities. She is perfect. She is more perfect than Krishna. So actually Prabhupada says there's always a competition between them. Who is more beautiful, who is more perfect, who is more glorious. So Srimati Radharani is the Hladini Shakti, the pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. So why do we insist so much on Shravanam, hearing, all the time? Because first of all, the Lord's pastimes are very, very attractive. And when we hear the Lord's pastimes, it cleanses our heart. You know, when we recite the Sikshastakam, we say, Cheto Darpanamarjan. It's like that layer of dust that is on a mirror, and you just wipe it clean. So the mirror becomes clear. So Krishna is trying to attract us back to him when we hear about him. Hearing also helps us remember Krishna. So the single most important instruction for us that we have to follow is always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So how are you going to always remember Krishna? You can always remember Krishna when you're chanting his names. We can always remember Krishna when we're taking his darshan. We can always remember Krishna when we're honoring prasadam every day. We can always remember Krishna when we are doing so many services to decorate him, cook for him. And we can always remember Krishna by hearing about his pastimes. So in this way, Krishna very cleverly attracts us back to him. And primarily, the pastimes of the Lord are performed by the Lord to attract his devotees. The Lord is not worried about any demons. His pastimes are for the pleasure of his devotees. So it's not just the Lord's intimate associates. Even if we hear pastimes about the Lord's intimate associates, that is also very purifying for us. So through the process of hearing, we are also associating with the devotees. So there's no difference between the name of the Lord, the form of the Lord, the pastimes of the Lord. There is no difference. So this is a beautiful way in which our dear Srila Prabhupada has set up the process in ISKCON so we can always be engaged in some service. We are serving the Lord by hearing about him. We are serving the Lord by doing Arati for him. We are serving the Lord by offering him fruits, incense sticks, by dressing him up nicely, by worshipping him, by offering our obeisances to him. So there are so many different ways in which we are serving the Lord all the time. But today, our focus is going to be on Srimati Radharani and of course some of the pastimes of the Lord. So we have mentioned this before that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, along with Gadadhar Pandit, in the Tota Gopinath temple, they were always hearing two pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Dhruva Maharaj's pastimes and Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes. So if the Lord himself is constantly hearing about the pastimes of his devotees, right? The Lord, along with Gadadhar Pandit, they used to go into ecstasy, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, specifically Canto 7, about Prahlad Maharaj. So here, we are trying to hear about the Lord's pastimes. And when the Lord comes to inaugurate the Sankirtan movement, he is hearing his devotees' pastimes. So you can't separate the Lord from his devotees. And we can't separate the devotees from the Lord. They are interconnected. Therefore, Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna are inseparable. In that they are one, because they are inseparable. So Srimati Radharani appears in the household of Vrishabhanu Maharaj. Vrishabhanu Maharaj had a benediction that he would have a girl child who would be very beautiful, very attractive. Everything about Srimati Radharani would be unsurpassed. So Srimati Radharani is found in a body of water in the midst of 1,000-petaled white lotus. Sometimes the pastime says that Vrishabhanu Maharaj actually finds her in a field. So it is said that the childhood pastimes of the Lord are not witnessed in Golok Vrindavan. Because in Golok Vrindavan, Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani are Navayavanam, they are teenagers. So eternally the pastimes in Golok Vrindavan are about the Lord as a teenager. Therefore, the Lord comes into the material world to perform his baby pastimes, his childhood pastimes. So that means those who are Nitya Siddhas, who are there with the Lord in Golok Vrindavan, they don't get to witness the childhood pastimes of the Lord. It happens here on the earthly planet. So the demigods come to see the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan. So how fortunate are we that we are able to hear about these pastimes of the Lord that perhaps may not be heard in Golok Vrindavan at all, because these pastimes are specifically performed for the pleasure of his devotees. So this beautiful baby girl that Vrishabhanu picks up from the 1,000-petal lotus is, of course, she's exquisitely beautiful. And Vrishabhanu takes her home. Vrishabhanu already has a son called Sridham. And this is Srimati Radharani. Except there is one small problem. The child is exquisitely beautiful. You couldn't ask for a more perfect child. But the child would not open its eyes, would not speak, apparently could not hear. So the child was just mute, apparently, and deaf, apparently. So Narada Muni was visiting Vrindavan Dham, and he knew that Lord Krishna had already appeared. And he also knew if Lord Krishna had already appeared, then Srimati Radharani must be there, because they are inseparable. So he goes in search of where is this girl child and where has she appeared. So he goes knocking on every single door and asks everybody, have you had a newborn girl baby recently? Now, of course, Narada Muni is a great sage, so everybody is only too happy to welcome Narada Muni into their house, and they would try to get their children blessed by Narada Muni. But Narada Muni was anxious only to see Where has Srimati Radharani appeared? So he was searching like this, knocking on door after door after door, until he comes to Rishabhanu Maharaj's doorstep. And he asks him, do you have a girl child recently? So initially, Rishabhanu Maharaj says, no, I have a son. They didn't want to accept as parents that the girl child was blind, apparently, mute, apparently, deaf, apparently. So they kept it quiet. They didn't tell anybody that they had this baby girl. So Narada Muni asks him again, are you sure you don't have a girl child in your residence? So feeling very embarrassed for having lied, Rishabhanu Maharaj said, yes, she's very beautiful, but there is a small problem. She doesn't cry. She doesn't open her eyes. She doesn't do anything. So Narada Muni says, let me see this girl child. Now, by now, Narada Muni had seen so many little babies in different households. He didn't experience anything special. So when Rishabhanu Maharaj takes Narada Muni into the room where Srimati Radharani is laying on the cradle, Narada Muni goes into ecstasy. He realizes this is Srimati Radharani. And he asks Rishabhanu Maharaj to leave the room, saying, I would like to give some special blessings to your baby daughter, but you must leave the room. So when Rishabhanu Maharaj leaves the room, Narada Muni begins to offer his prayers. And he asks Srimati Radharani, please show me your eternal form in Golok Vrindavan. And lo and behold, Srimati Radharani appears in her youthful form with all of her millions of Sakis and gives this special darshan to Narada Muni. Seeing this beautiful form of Srimati Radharani as a 14-year-old, Narada Muni just faints. He couldn't handle this beautiful darshan. So Radharani asks one of her Sakis, okay, wake this man up. He has fainted. So one of the Sakis wakes up Narada Muni. He offers many more glorifications and prayers of Srimati Radharani and her Sakis. And then he comes out of the room and he tells Nanda Maharaj, you need to celebrate the appearance of your girl child. So invite everybody in every town and village, and specifically you invite Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj for this birthday party. Throw a nice party, invite everyone, and you see what will happen. So of course, if a sage tells you to do something, you will do it. You're not going to question. So Nanda Maharaj organizes for a nice festival to announce the appearance of his girl child. And of course, if Mother Yashoda comes and Nanda Maharaj comes, then certainly Krishna and Balaram have also come along with them. So when the Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda enter the residence of Rishabhanu Maharaj, along with baby Krishna and baby Balaram, what does our baby Krishna do? The first thing he does is toddles over in search of Srimati Radharani. So Radharani is on her cradle, and Lord Krishna comes in front of her, reaches over and touches her lips with his finger. And then Srimati Radharani opens her eyes and cries. And Rishabhanu Maharaj and Kirtida were so astounded They had been waiting for this girl child to open her eyes and say something, look at them. And the minute Krishna touched Srimati Radharani opened her eyes. So what can we learn from this particular pastime of Lord Krishna meeting Srimati Radharani? Actually, Srimati Radharani had a conversation with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan, where Krishna said, you know, all these devatas and Mother Earth have prayed. There's a lot of disturbance and we need to go and perform our pastimes. And Srimati Radharani says, but why would I want to leave Golok Vrindavan and go somewhere else? I don't want to go. But Krishna says, no, you have to come with me, because how will I perform my pastimes without you? And so Srimati Radharani lays a condition. She tells Krishna, I will only come if the river Yamuna is there, if Govardhan is there, and I will only open my eyes after I see you. So this was the agreement between Krishna and Srimati Radharani. And therefore, Srimati Radharani had her eyes closed until she could take darshan of her sweet Lord, Damodara. So what can we learn from this? Every sense, every one of our senses that we have, including the sixth sense, which is the mind, should always be engaged in Krishna conscious activities. Srimati Radharani did not want to have anything to do with anyone until she had first taken darshan of her beloved. And then the pastimes began. Yeah. So if we have eyes, we should take darshan of the Lord. If we have ears, then we should hear Harikatha. We should use our mouth to chant the holy names of the Lord, to spread the message of Krishna consciousness, to honor prasadam. We should use our nose to smell the tulsi that is offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, to smell the beautiful flowers, the fragrant flowers that are offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. We should use our sense of touch to take association, physical association of other devotees. So like this, our minds should also always be engaged in thinking, okay, what can I do for Krishna today? What can I do for Srimati Radharani today? That should be the mood in which we engage all of our senses, right? So everything, actually, there is a pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam during the Damodar Leela, which we will cover one of these days. Maybe on Diwali, we will do Damodar Leela, where Nalakuvara and Manigriva, after they are released from the trees by Lord Krishna, they actually glorify the Lord. And they say people are most unfortunate if they're not using their mouth to glorify the Lord, if they're not using the ears to hear about the Lord, if they are not using their eyes to see the Lord, if they are not using their minds to focus on the lotus feet of the Lord, to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, if they're not using their head to bow down to the Supreme Lord, then it is a wasted opportunity. So once Durvasa Muni visits Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and Kirtida asks Srimati Radharani to prepare some nice kheer for Durvasa Muni. So Srimati Radharani, with a great deal of devotion, because a great sage had come, she prepares a beautiful, delicious, fragrant milk kheer and offers it to Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni, tasting the kheer, goes into ecstasy. He's very pleased and satisfied with the service that Srimati Radharani has offered him as a young, small child. So he's so pleased with the sweet rice that he gives her a benediction. And the benediction goes like this: that whoever consumes what Srimati Radharani prepares will live for a long time. Their qualities will be enhanced more and more, and their life will be expanded more and more. Now, Mother Yashoda heard about this benediction. And what was happening to Krishna in the meantime? Demon after demon was coming to try and get him. And Mother Yashoda was in a great deal of anxiety, thinking, so many demons attacking my child. Now I've heard about this benediction that Srimati Radharani. What better way to protect my son than to have someone who's received the benediction that if she cooks, whoever consumes what she cooks will have a long life. So Mother Yashoda approaches Srimati Radharani. Now, of course, Srimati Radharani is already married. So she is living with her mother-in-law and sister-in-law, Jatila and Kutila. So if she needs permission for Radharani to come and cook for Krishna, she has to go to Radharani's mother-in-law to take permission. So Mother Yashoda goes and she says, I've heard that your daughter-in-law has got this beautiful benediction. So please send her. My son is being attacked by so many demons. Please send her every day so she can cook something for my Lala. And Jatila and Kutila agreed. So every day, Srimati Radharani would go over to Nanda Maharaj's house to prepare something for Krishna. And Srimati Radharani's cooking would be honored by Lord Krishna every day. So like this, Srimati Radharani is cooking for Krishna every day. And then Jatila thinks, wait a minute. What about her own husband's life? If she starts cooking for others and their lives expands, what about my son? So suddenly, out of the blue, Jatila changes her mind and she tells Srimati Radharani, no more. You can't go cooking for this naughty boy Krishna anymore. She was anyway suspicious that Radharani was probably very attracted to Krishna. So she used this excuse to tell that Radharani cannot cook for Krishna anymore. Now, of course, what would happen? Srimati Radharani was devastated. She was experiencing deep separation because she couldn't see Krishna every day. She could not cook for him every day. So she falls into a deep fever. She doesn't wake up, she doesn't eat anything, and she seems to be in some deep coma. Of course, this worries Jatila very much. And she's filled with anxiety. What has happened to her daughter-in-law ever since she forbade her from going and cooking for Krishna? Radharani has not woken up. So at that time, somebody tells Jatila, why don't you consult with Purnamasi, the most elderly, respected, venerable personality whom everybody goes to for advice when things become difficult. So Jatila goes to Purnamasi and asks, can you please help me? My Radharani is not waking up. She seems to be in some kind of deep sickness. And Purnamasi, of course, knows what to do. Purnamasi is none other than Yogamaya, who is primarily there to arrange for these pastimes of the Lord with Srimati Radharani. Whatever is required to happen so that the pastimes continue. That is the role of Purnamasi. So Purnamasi says, you know what, I am not a healer, but I know a very good healer. He should come and diagnose what's wrong with Srimati Radharani. So of course, the healer comes along with Vidyavali to the house of Jatila. And the healer says, look, any healing that I do, you can't be sticking around. So you have to stay out while I figure out what the problem is. So the healer, along with Vidyavali, go into the room of Srimati Radharani. And some play acting begins now. So Jatila is standing outside the door, and the healer, along with Vidyavali and Srimati Radharani, are in the room. And a conversation begins. So the conversation goes like this. That Durvasa Muni had given this benediction to Srimati Radharani. And Radharani was prevented from utilizing this benediction to serve Krishna. So the healer tells that this Jatila is a snake. She has done something terrible by trying to contradict Durvasa Muni's benediction, by trying to interfere with this benediction. And therefore, if this does not change, then Srimati Radharani will give up her body. So all this Jatila is hearing outside, right? This conversation is going on. And she panics when she hears that she may lose her daughter-in-law. And she breaks through the door and tells the healer, no, please, whatever it is, I will allow my daughter-in-law to go and cook for Krishna every day. If that is going to save the life of my daughter-in-law, I will do it. I will never question Durvasa Muni. So at one point she says, she was thinking to herself, okay, so what if Durvasa Muni gives her this benediction? So next time he will give her some other benediction. If she goes and touches somebody, what will happen? So she was concerned about the impact of these benedictions. So somehow or the other, the situation got resolved. Of course, the healer is none other than Krishna. So the minute Krishna appears in the room of Srimati Radharani, the snake of separation has been healed. So Srimati Radharani comes awake again. So she had to see Lord Krishna. And Purnamasi arranges for this healer to come and do all this play acting. And Jatila was convinced, okay, I better not stop this kind of benediction anymore. So in this way, Prabhupada has always said that Srimati Radharani never cooks the same dish twice. Never. So every day, some new preparation for Krishna. That is the unique beauty of Srimati Radharani. So much love she had for Lord Krishna. So one day, Krishna and Srimati Radharani are talking to each other. They are having a conversation. And Krishna tells Srimati Radharani, one day, Mother Yashoda will fall at your feet. Hey Radhika, you are the greatest devotee. One day my mother will come and fall at your feet, begging you. And Radharani thinks, please. We all know what Krishna loves his mother so much. So she didn't believe Krishna when he said that you are the greatest devotee. Because in Radharani's mind, Mother Yashoda must have been the greatest devotee because she had an opportunity to associate with Krishna all the time. So one day, the gopis gather and they're decorating Krishna, painting his forehead, painting his cheeks, putting garlands, combing his hair, dressing him up. So all the gopis and Radharani are dressing up Krishna. And Mother Yashoda comes and she gets very, very angry. She said, what are you all doing? My son has been grazing cows all day. He's so tired. He has to have his dinner. I have to give him a bath. And you all are wasting time like this trying to decorate him. So she gets angry and she scolds the gopis. for spending so much time with Krishna. Krishna is so tired, he needs to rest. At that time, the gopis look at each other, and then they look at Mother Yashoda and tell her, do you think there is only one Krishna in this world? So the question was, do you think there is only one Krishna in this world? Mother Yashoda gets puzzled. What do you mean? Of course, there could be many Krishnas, but my Krishna is only my Krishna. There could be nobody more sweet and more beautiful and more mischievous than my Krishna. So at that time, the gopis tell Mother Yashoda, there are many Krishnas in this world. The Krishna that we are decorating, he's not yours. She gets even more puzzled. What do you mean that's not my Krishna? And the gopis say, go check in your house. He's fast asleep. So Mother Yashoda very hurriedly goes back home. And sure enough, Krishna is fast asleep. And when she comes back to report to the gopis that yes, indeed, her son is fast asleep, but this particular Krishna also looks identical to her Krishna. And she's very puzzled. So she tells the gopis, why don't we bring the two Krishnas together and make them dance? The gopis get perturbed now. No, we are not going to give up our Krishna. What if the Krishnas get mixed up? What if your Krishna gets mixed up with our Krishna? Mother Yashoda says, very simple. You just decorate his forehead with tilak, then you can recognize your Krishna, and I will know which is my Krishna. And so Mother Yashoda goes home, brings Krishna, and the gopis have their Krishna with them, and Mother Yashoda has her Krishna with her, and the dance begins. The two Krishnas are dancing, the gopis' Krishna is dancing, and Mother Yashoda's Krishna is also dancing, and everybody is in bliss. Suddenly, Mother Yashoda's Krishna merges with the gopis' Krishna. And Mother Yashoda is so shocked that her son has suddenly disappeared. She starts crying. She's searching for Krishna all over the place. Where is my Krishna? Where is my Krishna? Where is my Krishna? Where did he go? Because the Krishna that was remaining had a tilak. Her Krishna was nowhere to be seen. And she's frantic. She says, I want my Krishna back. I want my Krishna back. At that time, Mother Yashoda falls at the feet of Radharani and begs her, please give my Krishna back to me. I cannot live without him. Saying this, she loses consciousness. At that time, Krishna smiles and tells Srimati Radharani, wake up, my mother, and tell her something. So Radharani wakes up Mother Yashoda and she tells Mother Yashoda, don't be worried. Your Krishna is back at home. Go back and check. He's fast asleep. He got tired because we were all dancing for so long, but he got tired and he went back home. So Mother Yashoda goes back home and sure enough, Krishna is sleeping there. So the Lord wanted to show that Srimati Radharani's position is an exalted position. Which is why we say that Lord Krishna actually serves Srimati Radharani in Golok Vrindavan. We are all trying to serve Lord Krishna, but Lord Krishna is in turn so attracted by Srimati Radharani's devotion that he is always serving her in Golok Vrindavan. Shall we go on with some more pastimes? Because I think it's 6:45, 6:40. So this is the beauty of the pastimes of Lord Krishna. This is actually Prema Rasa, the Madhurya Rasa. That Srimati Radharani loves Krishna so much, it's actually difficult to figure out who loves whom more. Does Krishna love Radharani or does Radharani love Krishna more? And it is always understood that Srimati Radharani loves Krishna more than Lord Krishna loves Srimati Radharani. So these pastimes are performed by the Lord eternally. Srila Prabhupada says, every day when we wake up, the Lord is performing his pastimes somewhere. Some of it is Prakat Leela, where fortunate souls are able to witness the pastimes of the Lord. And some of the pastimes are considered to be aprakat, in the sense that the pastimes are going on, but we are not able to see those pastimes. But eternally, the divine couple are always having these particular pastimes. We'll conclude with one small pastime. One day, Srimati Radharani is sleeping in a Nikunj, and Krishna comes and observes her sleeping. And he hears something very unusual. Srimati Radharani is sleeping, but from the pores of her body, the name Shyam, Shyam, Shyam is heard. So her lips are not moving, but even her body is chanting the holy names of the Lord. And Krishna thinks, oh, she loves me so much. How much she loves me that even though she is asleep, the rest of her body is still chanting my names. Thinking of this great love that she has for him, Lord Krishna falls unconscious. Then Radharani wakes up to find Krishna sleeping beside her. And what does she hear? She hears Radhe, Radhe, Radhe from every pore of Krishna's body. So this is the divine couple exhibiting the Madhurya Ras. And she's also thinking, oh, he loves me so much. And she faints. So like this is the Prema Rasa between Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna. So all of us are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, but in Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is serving the supremely divine Srimati Radharani. Shri Radha Damodar Ke Jai.
Jai.
Jai. Any questions?